Alright, what's up, friends? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're learning Daf Lamed Gimel of Masechta Berachos. Another really big daf, but also another daf with some pretty cool stuff in here. We're gonna start off sort of finishing up about some Shmona Esrei kind of stuff, and then we're gonna spend a bunch of time talking about Havdalah, and then towards the end we're just gonna get to some pretty interesting, kind of cool little things. So without further ado, let's do it. So we're starting on Lamed Beis, about 8-9 lines from the bottom. There's 2 dots. It says Afilu Amelech Shoel B'Shlomo Lo Yeshivenu. So this says in the Mishnah that even if a king asks, "How are you?" says hello to you, do not answer if you're davening Shemona Esrei. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is specifically talking about like the Hasidim Arishonim, they wouldn't answer. Even if a king would ask him how he's doing, or if it means that we should do the same. I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. So Amar Rav Yosef, Zaktav Yosef, Loshanu El Malchi Yisrael. So when we say that, don't answer even the king, so that is talking about a Jewish king, of a Malchi Akum, but a king of the idol worshippers, Posek. So then you would stop, probably because it could be a situation of Sakanas Nefashis, that it could kill you. Meisvei, but we have a contradiction. Anas ba'kenegdo, karon ba'kenegdo. If a person's davening and he sees, onus is translated generally as rape. So I don't know if he saw a rapist coming his way, or just generally, I guess a person who may harm you. Or he saw a wagon coming his way. He's like davening, I guess, in the middle of the road, or as my great uncle would say, in the gutter, and he saw a wagon coming his direction. So then lo yeh mafsik ela makatzer. So he shouldn't stop. He shouldn't make a hefsek, but he should rather just shorten, right? Makatzer v'oleh. He should just kind of shorten his prayer. So the question is, we're saying that if somebody who may harm you comes your way, then you should stop. Yet over here we're saying if something that is going to harm you, or somebody that is going to harm you is coming your way, then you shouldn't stop. You should just kind of hurry up. So lokasha ad efshel katzer yikatzer v'imlav posek. So it depends. If you can just quickly finish up, like you're at the end of your Shemona Esrei, so finish up. But if that's not going to be a possibility, so then just stop and make sure that you stay out of trouble. So there was a story about a certain chassid that he was davening, and basar echad v'nasan lo shalom v'lo echzeh lo shalom. So, and a certain officer came by and he said shalom to this chassid who was in the middle of Shemona Esrei, and the chassid basically ignored him. So himtin lo achitzim tfilaso. So the officer waited for the chassid to finish his Shemona Esrei. So after the chassid finished his Shemona Esrei, the officer said, "You idiot! Doesn't it say in your Torah?" Okay, I wonder how the officer somehow knew verses. Doesn't it say in your Torah that you have to guard yourself and be careful? And it says you should, surely protect your life. So when I, as a very fancy officer, said hello to you, how come you didn't respond? Right? Now, if I were to take my sword right here and slice off your head, who's going to take me to court? All right? So the chassid said, wait a second, I am going to convince you. And the chassid told him, so Mr. Officer, so if you were in front of a king of flesh and blood, and your friend came by and said hello to you, would you respond? Amalei lav. He said, no, I would not. And if you would say hello to your friend when you were standing in front of the king, what would they do to you? He said, they would slice off my head with a sword. So Amrle. So the chassid had this officer right where he wanted him. And he said, so he taught this chassid, so he taught this officer about kal v'chomers. And he said, so, Uma'ata sha'isa omi lifnei melech basa v'dam shayom kan u'machur b'kever kach. So, if you were saying that when you're standing in front of a king of flesh and blood, who today is here and tomorrow will be in his grave, you wouldn't interrupt, you wouldn't interrupt your dialogue for somebody who interrupted. So all the more so I, Shaisi Omed Lifnei Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, that I'm standing in front of the King of all kings. He's even the King of your King, right? Shu Chai V'Kayim La'adul Omei Olam, that he lives for all eternity. Alachas Kama V'Chama. Certainly then, don't you understand why I didn't interrupt what I was doing in order to say hello to you? So Miyad Nesbayis Oso Asar V'Nifter Oso Chasim Leveso L'Shalom. So the officer was convinced, and the chassid went to his house with his head on his shoulders. Very beautiful story. So even if a snake is wrapped around his leg, he should not stop. So Rav Sheshes says that, by the way, this is only talking about a snake, because a snake is less sort of, has less of a tendency to bite you. However, a scorpion, if you have a scorpion on your leg, then you should interrupt your Shmon Esrei and get rid of him, because he may bite you, and that would be dangerous. Meisve, we have a kasha. Nafal legova rayos, ein me'idin olav shemes. If you have a guy who was somewhere and he fell into a den of lions, you can't just assume that because he fell into a den of lions that he is dead, right? And the implication, and the nafkamina being that his wife would be able to get remarried, because maybe the lions aren't so hungry and they'll leave him alone. However, nafal achfira malei nechashim v'akravim meidin alav shemes. However, if he fell into a pit that was filled with either snakes or scorpions, then you can testify about him that he is dead. So we see over there that snakes are equally as dangerous as scorpions. So if we're saying that if there's a snake around his legs, he shouldn't interrupt his Shmona Esrei, well then the same thing should apply for scorpions. So why would Rav Sheshes say that you would interrupt for scorpions? Both of them seem to be equally as lethal. So Shani Hasam Tagav Itzitza Mazke. No, so the Gemara answers that when he falls into a pit of snakes or scorpions, it's different. The only reason why the snakes would kill him in that case is because you disturb them by falling on them. But in a regular situation where they just kind of wrap themselves around your leg, they're not necessarily lethal, and you would not interrupt your Shmona Esrei. Okay? Very nice. Okay. Now again, I'm not sure if it's talking about like you and I, or if this is talking about Hasidim. I don't know. Maybe it's talking about you and I. Amr Rabbi Yitzchak Zak Tehelik or Rabbi Yitzchak Rosh Varim Posek. If you see oxen while you're davening, you should stop your davening and go to safety. Ditani Rav Oshaya Marchikin Mishor Tam Chamishim Amma. You get away from a short tam 50 amos umishor muad kimlo enab, and you get away from a short muad as far as you can see. What is a short tam? What is a short muad? This gets into baba kama kind of stuff. So a short tam is basically just a regular ox who has never gored anybody, and we don't assume that he's going to gore anybody. So Rav Oshai said a short tam, you nonetheless stay away 50 amos from a short tam. But a short muad is an ox who has gored but not killed anybody, but has nonetheless gored 3 people, 3 times, and was warned 3 times. So that is what's called a shor mu'ad. So a shor mu'ad, a warned ox, you should get away as far as you can until it's out of sight. So if you're praying and you see an ox, get away. Tana Mishmed Rabbi Meir, they taught in the name of Rabbi Meir, Reish Torah b'dakula if the head of an ox is like in its feeding basket, so it's in the middle of eating, slik la'agra, you better run up to the roof, ushdi darga mitusach, and hide the ladder. Meaning, that could be a very dangerous situation if the feeding time for the oxen. Okay. Now Shmuel points out, however, that running up to the roof and hiding the ladder is really only talking about a black ox during the month of Nisan. Because during the month of Nisan, the Satan is dancing in between the horns of black oxen. Oh, Tanura Banan. So here we go, friends. You have lucked out, and you have another story of everyone's favorite, Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa. Tanura Banan, Ma'aseh b'makom echad, shaya arod. There was a story in one place, there was an arod. Now, if anybody could remember back, which I'm sure this is probably most people, from Daf Tes Amud Beis. Interesting. It feels like Daf Tes Amud Beis keeps on coming up in our flashbacks. But anyways, we said over there, Rabbi Akiva's opinion was that you could start saying Kriya Shema when you could tell the difference between a donkey and an arod. And Rashi defined an arod as a wild donkey. Now over here, however, he is defining an arod from some kind of cross between a snake and a frog. So some kind of reptile. So I wonder why the inconsistency over there. But in any event, there was some place where there was some kind of reptile that was basically biting and killing people. So they went and they told Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, hey, there's this reptile that's going around and killing people. He said to them, show me where its hole, right? Show me where it lives. They showed him its hole. Nasan akeva al piachor, he covered the hole with his heel. Yatsa v'noshcho v'mes, and the arod bit Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa's heel and then immediately died. Umes also arod, and that this reptile died. Notlu nitalo al ksefo, he then put the reptile on his shoulders. Vevio leveis hamedrash, and he schlepped it to the Beis Hamedrash. Amar loim, he said to them, Re'u banai, guys, look, I want you to learn something here. Ein arod memis, ela achet memis. It is not this reptile that's killing people, because it didn't kill me, so it's clearly not the reptile. Rather, it's the sin that kills, right? So rather, I guess the idea is, make sure that you're doing the right thing and you have nothing to worry about. They said at that time, woe is to the person who has an unfortunate encounter with this reptile. And woe is to this reptile that has an unfortunate encounter with Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa. Okay. Says the Mishnah, we say Mashiv Ruach Morid HaGeshem in the second bracha of Shmona Esrei. And then we ask for rain in the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, right? So we mention rain in the second bracha of Shmona Esrei, right? We're not asking for rain over there, we're just mentioning that God is so great that He brings rain. And then in the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, we then actually ask that God should bring rain, like it is raining today. Okay? And we say Atachon Antanu, right? Motzoi Shabbos. And we say a Havdalah in the bracha of Chonen Adas. Rabbi Akiva Omer bracha revius b'fnei atzma. Rabbi Akiva says that no, we actually say Atachon Antanu as a completely separate bracha. Rabbi Eliezer Omer b'hodah. Rabbi Eliezer says that we say Havdalah in Modim. Says the Gemara, Maskin Gvuros Geshamim. Okay, so we mention the Mashiv Ruach Moed HaGeshem in the second bracha of Shmona Esrei in Tchias HaMesim. My time, how come Mashiv Ruach Moed HaGeshem belongs in Mechaya HaMesim? So Rav Yosef, Mitoch Sheshkula Kischiyas HaMesim, Lefichach Kava'ua B'Schiyas HaMesim, because it's like bringing back the dead, so we put it in the bracha about bringing back the dead. I assume that what it means is that Keilu, at the end of the summer, when the winter starts and we need rain, everything's very, very dry. Then the rain comes and everything kind of comes to life and becomes green. Great. And we taka say, in Baruch Aleinu, there we actually ask for rain. My time, how come we have V'sein Talamata Levracha in that specific bracha. So Amar Rav Yosef, Mitochshi Parnasa Lefichach Kiva'ua Beberkas Parnasa. So the bracha of Barich Aleinu is the bracha where is the blessing in Shemon Esrei where we pray for our sustenance, right? That we should be able to make a living and be able to sustain ourselves. So because rain is basically the root of our sustenance, it allows us food that we can eat and remain alive. So therefore we pray for rain in the bracha of Barich Aleinu where we pray for Parnasa. Havdalah b'chonin adas, my timer. How come the bracha of chonin adas is the appropriate place for Havdalah? So Amar Rav Yosef, mitochshi chachma kiva'ua beberkas chachma, because Havdalah, being able to differentiate between things, right? It says Rashi, mitochshi chachma hachacham yodea la'avdil ben kodesh l'chol v'en tamei l'tar. A wise person, a person with wisdom, knows how to tell the difference between something that is holy, something that is unholy, something that is pure, something that is impure, right? The ability to distinguish between things is something connected to wisdom. So therefore, we put Havdalah, which is basically differentiating between Shabbos, which is holy, and the week, which is not holy, not necessarily unholy, but it's not holy per se. So we do this distinction in the bracha where we pray for wisdom. Whereas the Chachamim say, the Rabbanan say that because it is a basically we're making a separation between the Shabbos and the weekday, so we put it in the first bracha of the weekday Shemona Esrei. Rabbi Ami Gdola Deya Shnitna B'Tchilas Bracha Shel Chol. Rabbi Ami says that knowledge is so great that it's the first blessing of the weekday blessings. From Rabbi Ami Gdola Deya Shnitna Ben Shtei Osios. Rabbi Ami says, additionally, knowledge is so great that it is put sandwiched between two of God's names. Shneimar, as the pasuk says in Shmuel, Kikel Deos Hashem, that God is a God of knowledge. And anybody who doesn't have knowledge, it is forbidden to have mercy upon that individual. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Ki lo am binos hu, that they are not a nation of understanding. Alkein lo yerachamenu oseu. Therefore, its maker will not have mercy upon it. Amar Bi Elazar, Zakta Elazar, Gadol Mikadesh Mikdash Shenasan Ben Beis Osios, that the Beis HaMikdash is so great that it's put between two mentionings of God's names. Shenemar Pa'alta Hashem Mikdash Hashem. Right. This is at the end of Az Yashir. It says Tivim v'siteimu ba'nachlascha machon l'shivtcha Pa'alta Hashem Mikdash Hashem Koni Yodecha. Right. So anyways, so the word Mikdash is between two names of God. V'amar Belazar, and said Rabbi Belazar, Kol adam sheish bodea ki'ilu nivne Beis HaMikdash b'yamav. Anybody who has knowledge, it's as if the Beis HaMikdash is built in his days. Why is that? Because Dea nitna ben shtei osios, because knowledge was given between two names of God. Mikdash nasan ben shtei osios, and Mikdash was mentioned between two names of God. So just like knowledge is, so therefore anybody who has knowledge, it's like the temple has been built in his days. Maskif la Rav Acha Karchina'a. So Rav Acha Karchina'a asked the following question: Elameata Gdol Nekama Shnitna Ben Shtei Osios. Well, then should we also say that vengeance is also a really great thing because it's between two names of God? Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Kel Nekamos Hashem. God is a God of vengeance. Amarle. So he said to him, I guess Rabbi Lazar said to him, yeah, it's true. Vengeance, there's a place for that as well. B'milsa Mia Gedolahu. When vengeance is in its proper context, it's a great thing. Vanadama Ula. This is what Ula said. Shtei nekamos halalu lama. Right? Why does it say kel nekamos Hashem, kel nekamos Sophia? Right? Right? God is a God of vengeance, and may the God of vengeance reveal Himself. So how come we have these two vengeances? So achas tova v'achas lira. Right? One for good and one for bad. The tova. What's an example of the tova? The tova. D'chsev hofia mehar paran. Right? That when it says that God came to give the Torah from Paran because He offered it first, and then sort of they, what does Rashi say? Hofia gila v'hifkir kishelo kiblu es Torah. Right? That when they didn't accept the Torah, so then He kind of made their money hefker. right? Because as Rashi points out, I think it was Rashi who pointed out that basically, if we look at the halachos of Nizikin, so a shore that belongs to a Jew that damages the shore that belongs to a non-Jew, I believe that Midoraisa is not chayav to pay for those damages. Okay, fine. Lira'a, where do we see vengeance for bad? Tichsiv kel nekamos Hashem, kel nekol Sophia. That is a reference to sort of a negative sort of vengeance. Rabbi Akiva Omra Bracha Revius Chule. So Rabbi Akiva says that you say Havdalah as a completely separate bracha. You don't say it as part of Chon and Adas. Okay. Amalei Rav Shem Bar Abba Rav Yochanan. So Rav Shem Bar Abba said to Rav Yochanan, Michdei Anshe Knesset Zagadola Tiknu Lem Yisrael. So the Anshe Knesset Zagadola established for the Yidden. Okay. Brachos utfilos kedushos v'avdalos. So blessings, prayers, kedushos like kiddush and stuff, v'avdalos and also avdalah, which is interesting. So it sounds like so. First of all, who were the Anshe Knesset Gedola? Firstly, I don't really know, but I kind of maybe know a little. So the first mission in Pirkei Avos says that, right? Moshe kibel Torah mi Sinai. Moshe got the Torah from Sinai. He gave it to Yoshua. Yoshua gave it to the elders. The elders gave it to the prophets, and then after the prophets, it went to the Anshe Knesset Gedola. Okay, so they were sort of the next people to accept the Torah after the prophets, and then pass it on to some other people. So now certain notable figures in the Anshe Knesset Gedola, I believe, were Ezra. I think Mordechai from Megillah fame, from Purim fame. I think was part of the Anshe Knesset Gedola. So I guess it was these kind of people. That were living kind of during the second temple, or I guess Mordechai was during the first temple. I guess, that was all these kind of those people. And it sounds like they were the ones who sort of instituted brachos and prayers and stuff. I guess the implication being that before then, people didn't necessarily make brachos or pray. I can't say that for sure, but I think that might be the implication, right? If they're the one who established them. Now, another interesting thing here is that we had said, I believe on, what was it, Chav Tesamud Beis or something like that, that on Chav Chesamud Beis, it says all the way at the bottom, that Shimon HaPakuli, his dear Shmona Esrei Berachos of Nir Rabban Gamliel, Ala Seder Riyavna. It sounded like Tfilos, that the Shmona Esrei was actually established during the days of Rabban Gamliel, who was a Tana. So he came a little bit later, even after the Zugos and stuff. So that was interesting, like where exactly, because over here we're talking about how already from the time of the Anshe Knesset Gedola, they had Havdalah in Chon and Adas. So it sounded like Chon and Adas already exists during the time of the Anshe Knesset Gedola. Yet we said a few days ago that it was established by, during the days of Rabban Gamliel. So honestly, I don't really have an answer for that. But anyways, so the Gemara says, Nechze Heichan Takun. So let us see where, so basically, we have this machlokas now. Was Atachon Antanu in Chon and Adas? Was it in a separate bracha on its own? Was it in Modim? Well, why don't we just see it? Well, Rabbi Yochanan, so Shem Bar Abba asked Rabbi Yochanan, well, how did Anshe Knesset Gedola establish it? Did they do it in Chon and Adas? Did they do it as a separate bracha? What did they do? So Amalei, so Rabbi Yochanan said to him, Batrila kiva'ua betfila. Initially, they had established it in tefillah, in the Shmona Esrei. He'ashiru, but then the Yidden became a shtickle wealthier, kiva'ua ala kos. So they established that you should say Havdalah on a glass of wine. He'enu. The Yidden then once again became poor. So chazu v'kava'ua b'tefillah. So then they said, okay, well, we can't make people say it over a glass of wine because they might not be able to afford a glass of wine. So they put it back into the tefillah. And it sounds like basically, I think so. Rashi explains that the idea is that when they then put it back into the tefillah, they forgot exactly where it used to be in the tefillah, which is why there's now a machlokas. Okay. Ve'im amru, and I guess at a later point they once again became wealthier to be able to afford to make Havdalah on a glass of wine. So they said, Amavdul b'tefillah tzarich she'avdil ala kos. And at that point they says, okay, so you do Havdalah twice. You do it you say Atachon Antanu in Shmona Esrei, but you also say Havdalah once again on a glass of wine. Idmar Nami is also stated, Amr B'chia Bar Abba, Amr B'Yochanan. B'chia Bar Abba said the name of B'Yochanan, Anshe Knesset Gedola, Tiknu Loim L'Yisrael, Brachos Utfilos Kedushos V'Havdalos, that the Anshe Knesset Gedola established for the Yidden blessings, prayers, kiddushes, and Havdalas. B'tchila Kava'ua B'tfila. Initially they established Havdalah to be in the middle of Shmona Esrei. He'ashiru, they became wealthier. Kava'ua ala kos. So they said, okay, we're going to say Havdalah now on a glass of wine. Chazu v'he'enu, they once again became poor. Kiva'ua b'tfila, so they said, okay, don't do it on a glass of wine. Let's just say Havdalah in Shmona Esrei. Ve'im amru, I guess then at a later point, they became wealthier again, where they were able to afford to buy wine. And they said, somebody who makes Havdalah in their Shmona Esrei, they also have to make Havdalah on a glass of wine. It Marnami, it was also stated, Rabbi of Rav Yosef, Tamir Tavayu, Hamavdul B'Tfilah Tzarech She'avdil Alakos. The Rabbi and Rav Yosef say that somebody who makes Havdalah in Shmona Esrei needs to make Havdalah on a glass of wine. Amar Rabba, Umosvina Nashmaitin. And Rabba says, and the interesting thing is, so the Gilyon changes Rabba to Rabba. So Rabba says the interesting thing is, we're saying that somebody who says Havdalah in Shmona Esrei needs to also say it on a glass of wine. But the funny thing is, there's actually a brisa that contradicts us. Ha 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 ha. Ta'a. And the brisa says that if you made a mistake, and he didn't say Mashiv Moed Geshem in the second bracha of Shmona Esrei, V'Sheleb V'Kas Hashanim, and he didn't say V'Sein Talamot Levracha in Baruch Aleinu. Machzirin also, we make him go back to the beginning of Shmona Esrei. V'Avdalah B'Chonin Adas Ein Machzirin also. But if he forgets to say Atachon Antanu and Chonin Adas, so we don't make him go back to the beginning, because he's able to say it on a glass of wine, right? Which implies that he doesn't have to. If he forgets to say it in Shmona Esrei, so he doesn't have to repeat Shmona Esrei, because don't worry, you can just say it make it up on a glass of wine. But it sounds like it's optional. If he would have said Atachon Antanu in Shmona Esrei, then he wouldn't have to say Havdalah on a glass of wine. So Rav Yosef then answers, Lo tema mipnei sheyachol omer alakos ela ema mipnei she'omer alakos. Don't say because he's able to say it on a glass of wine, rather say because he is going to be saying it on a glass of wine. So we see that you actually do need to say Havdalah on a glass of wine, even if you've already said it in Shmona Esrei. Id Marnami was also stated, Amar Binyamin bar Yefes, said Rabbi Binyamin bar Yefes, Sha'al Rabbi Yossi es Rabbi Yochanan b'Tzidan. So Rabbi Yossi asked Rabbi Yochanan in Sidon, Ve'amrila Rabbi Shimon ben Yankiv de Minsur es Rabbi Yochanan. Some say it was Taka Rabbi Shimon ben Yankiv asked from Tzur asked Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, in any event, what did this person ask Rabbi Yochanan? Ve'ana shamis, and I heard what he asked, and he asked, Hamavdol b'tfilah tzarich she'avdil alakos? Oh lo, somebody who says Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, does he have to say Havdalah on a glass of wine or not? V'amar lei, and he said to him, Tzarich she'avdil alakos. Yes, he does need to make Havdalah on a glass of wine. So what do you guys say? If you say Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, do you have to make it on a glass of wine? Of course. Great. Ibai Yalehu, that's a kasha. Hamavdil alakos, ma'u she'yavdil b'tfilah. What if somebody already said? What if somebody says Havdalah first? Right, it happens. Right, you first say Havdalah, you didn't yet daven Mariv. Now you're going to daven Mariv afterwards. Do you say Atachon Antanu in Shmona Esrei? Right, once you've already actually said Havdalah alakos. So Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Kava Chomer. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says it's Taka Kava Chomer. Mitfila, from Tfila. Uma Tfila deikr takanta hi. So if Tfila, if the main or I guess maybe like the original thing was to say Havdalah in Tefillah, so that makes it, I guess, like the main thing, somehow like more important or something. Amri Amavdol b'Tefillah tzarich she'avdil alakos, and still we say that even though you already said Havdalah in your Tefillah, you still need to say it on a glass of wine. So Amavdil alakos tilav ikar takantahi. But so somebody who makes Havdalah on a glass of wine, which isn't the main institution, I think that's what I was looking for, of Havdalah, lo kol shekain, certainly he should have to say a Havdalah in prayer. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why like Havdalah in Tefillah is like the main one. I don't know, maybe because it was the original or something. I don't know. Fine. So if you say Havdalah first on a glass of wine, and then you daven Mariv, you would still say Atachon Antanu in Shmona Esrei. Okay. Tani Rabbi Acha Aricha Kamei de Rav Chinina. So Rabbi Acha Aricha taught in front of Rav Chinina. Hamavdu b'tfila mishubach yoser mimishi yavdil alakos. Wow, very fancy. Somebody who says Havdalah in Shmona Esrei is more praiseworthy. It's more praiseworthy than saying only Havdalah on a glass of wine. But if he does it in both, that is mamish the best. He'll get all sorts of great brachas. So what do we see? So we see that, you can theoretically just make one of them, right? right? Rabbi Acha Aricha is saying that, if you just do it on Shmona Esrei, it's fine. If you just do it on a glass of wine, it's fine, right? And Taka Shmona Esrei is a little bit better than just doing it on wine. But if you do both, that's mamish the best you could possibly do. So now the Gemara says, Hagufa Kasha. This is inherently questionable. Because because you started out by saying that, if you do only one of the two, right? So if you only do Havdalah, right, Atachonantanu in Shmona Esrei, but you don't make Havdalah on a glass of wine, so Mishubach, that is better than if you would only make Havdalah on a glass of wine and not make Havdalah on in your Shmona Esrei at all. So Amma Tefillah L'chuda Sagi, which means that if you only made Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, that would be enough. You wouldn't have to make Havdalah ala kos. Well, then here's the problem. That if he makes Havdalah, however, in both Shmona Esrei and on a glass of wine, then he should mamish be blessed. Well, not really. Once already he's yotze by just saying Havdalah in his Shmona Esrei, well then, ipater. Well then, he's pater now from saying Havdalah. He's done. He doesn't need to say Havdalah anymore. Which means that then, when you go home and you say a Havdalah on a glass of wine, it's a bracha she'ena tzricha. It's a bracha that is not needed. V'amar Rav v'itema Reish Lakish v'amri la Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish d'amri tarvayu. Right? Rav said some people say it was Reish Lakish. Some say both of them. Taka said kol ha'mevarich bracha she'ena tzricha over mishum lo sisa. That anybody who makes a bracha that is not needed violates the mitzvah los aseh of don't mention God's name in vain. So like if you're saying that if you only make a bracha, if you only make Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, that works. Well, then you shouldn't be making it on a glass of wine because it's not necessary and it's a bracha she'ena tzricha. We don't make bracha she'ena tzricha. Ele'ema hachi. No, rather you got to say it like this: Hivdil bazo v'lo hivdil bazo yanuchu lo brachos al rosho. No, rather if you only make a bracha on one and not on the other, then that's better. Because if you make a bracha in both, according to Rav Acha Aricha, you would be violating, you would be in trouble because you would be making a bracha she'ena tzricha. Now, we must paskin that, I don't know why exactly. I guess we must paskin that, just saying Havdalah in Shmona Esrei really isn't necessarily enough. Because also, I think we say that you don't eat anything on Motzei Shabbos until after you make Havdalah on a glass of wine. So it does sound like there's some stronger thing to making Havdalah on a glass of wine that's the better one, which is also interesting because, Nachum Bar Yitzchak was taken for granted before that for some reason the Havdalah in Shmona Esrei seems to be the more significant one, but I don't know. In any event, there must be some kind of added value to saying bracha, saying Havdalah on a glass of wine. Okay, and I guess it's a machlokas here. Kilu Rav Acha Aricha would say that you only need to do either or, but I guess we seem to assume that you would do both. Although the more important one seems to be the bracha on the glass of wine, actually, right? Because if you don't say Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, don't worry about it because you're going to be making Havdalah on a glass of wine. But even if you do say Havdalah in Shmona Esrei, you would still make Havdalah on a glass of wine. Okay, fine. Ba'amine Rav Chisda me Rav Sheshes. So Rav Chisda asked a kasha from Rav Sheshes. Okay, ta bazo uvazo mahu. So if you made a mistake and you didn't make either one. So the way I understand it, because this is also, if I'm not mistaken, the halacha, is that if basically you do malacha on Motzei Shabbos and you didn't say Havdalah either in Shmona Esrei or on a glass of wine, what do you do, right? And that's how you made a mistake on both. Like Kilu, you went straight into the weekday doing malacha without doing either kind of Havdalah. So Amar Le ta'abazo uvazo chozer l'rosh. So he says, if you make a mistake in both of them, you have to go back and repeat Shmona Esrei. And I believe that this is the halacha. That kilu, if you forget to say Atachon Antanu in Shmona Esrei, and then you do malacha before saying Havdalah on a glass of wine, you have to then repeat your Shmona Esrei, right? So we only say that you don't repeat your Shmona Esrei if you then go straight, if you do Havdalah on a glass of wine before doing any malacha. But if you forget Havdalah in your Shmona Esrei, I think what you would do is you would say Amavda min kodesh l'chol. And once you say Amavda min kodesh l'chol, then you could do malacha. That counts as kilu, saying Havdalah, and then you would do Havdalah ala kos. But at that point you could already do malacha, and if you do malacha, you don't have to repeat Shmona Esrei if you said Amavda min kodesh l'chol. Amalei Ravina l'Rava. So Ravina said to Rava, Hilchsamai, nu, what's the halacha? Amalei said to him, Ki Kiddush. It's taka like Kiddush. Ma Kiddush afagav, the Mekadesh B'tzlosa, Mekadesh Akasa, just like by Kiddush, even though he said Kiddush in his Shmona Esrei, right, by Chula Hashemayim Va'aretz, he says that in his Shmona Esrei on Friday night, he still says Kiddush when he gets back home. So, Af Avdallah, also Avdallah Nami, Afagav Dim Avdu B'tzlosa, Avdu Lakasa, even though he already said Havdalah in his Shmona Esrei at Mariv, he still says Havdalah on a glass of wine. Cool. Now this next bit of Gemara is like a shtickle choppy. I'll tell you, the flow is just a shtickle choppy. So I hope you like choppy. Rabbi Eliezer Omer Be'odah. So Rabbi Eliezer says that Yitaka say Havdalah in the bracha of Modim. Okay, very fancy. Rabbi Zera Avarachiv Chamra. So Reb Zera was riding on a donkey. Okay. And Reb Chia bar Oven was traveling behind him. Amarle. So now I think Rabbi Zera asked Reb Chia bar Oven, is it true what they say in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, halacha Rabbi Eliezer, b'yomtiv shechalios achar Shabbos, that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer, that we say Havdalah in Modim in a situation where we have a yomtiv that falls out on Sunday, because when you have a Yom Tov that falls out on Sunday, so you're not going to be saying a weekday Shmona Esrei in Mariv on Saturday night, because it's Yom Tov. So there's no Atachonin. So is it true that Rabbi Yochanan says that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer in that case, that you would say Havdalah in Modim? So skip the next 3 words. So then Rabbi Zera continues in his question. He says, Halacha mechlal de plige. Now, This comes up sometimes in the Gemara. This right halacha. If we say the halacha is X, well then that implies that there were other options that the halacha might be, and we're saying the halacha is not like those other options. Rather, it's like the halacha is X, right? So Rabbi Zera is saying from the fact that Rabbi Yochanan apparently said that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer, that we say Havdalah in Modim, that implies that there would be other options for when we would say Havdalah. But is that really true? Are there any other options? Now the Gemara says, what do you mean, are there any options? Of course, there's the Chachamim, there's Rabbi Akiva, right? V'lo plige, there's nobody who argues on Rabbi Eliezer. V'al plige Rabbanan, but the Rabbanan argue. Now, of course, the Rabbanan say that you would say Atachon Antanu Chonin Adas. Now, that's not relevant over here because there's no Chonin Adas, but okay, Beseder. But I don't know, Gemara is just saying, well, the matter is that there are people who argue on Rabbi Eliezer, okay? But Amar the pligi Rabban b'shayim Mos Hashana b'yom t'shachalios achar Shabbos mi plige b'diu. Kilu the Chachamim only argue on a regular Saturday night where you could say Havdalah in Atachon Antanu, right? But here, you can't say Atachon Antanu, so Mistama they would agree with Rabbi, right? So they're irrelevant over here, right? So because obviously we're not going to say in Atachon Adas because there's no Chonin Adas. Okay, fine. So the Chachamim aren't relevant here, fine. But Palag Rabbi Akiva, what about Rabbi Akiva? Maybe. When Yontif falls out on Motzei Shabbos, I'll say Havdalah as a completely separate bracha, like Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara says, yeah, but that also isn't really an option, because Atu Kol Hashana Kulam Yavdinan Rabbi Akiva, the Hashta Neku V'Navid Kavase. Do we ever hold like Rabbi Akiva to make it a bracha, a separate bracha in its own right, that all of a sudden now on Motzei Shabbos, that when Yontif falls out on Motzei Shabbos, we'll make it a separate bracha? Because after all, Kol Hashana Kula my time of Din and Rabbi Akiva. How come we don't? There's a reason why we don't do like Rabbi Akiva the entire year. The Tam Nesrei Takun, Tish Srei Lo Takun, because the Chacham established 18 brachos, they didn't establish 19 brachos, right? So Hachanami Shev Takun, Tamne Lo Takun, right? The rabbis established that there should be 7 brachos on Yom Tov Shmona Esrei, not 8. So of course we're not going to do like Rabbi Akiva either. Okay. So the question is, why did Rabbi Yochanan apparently have to say that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer, as if there were other options we could go by? The only other potential options would be the Chachamim and Rabbi Akiva, who are both irrelevant. So Rabbi Chia bar Oven basically answers him, Amalei lav halacha itmar ela matin itmar. Okay, so Rabbi Chia bar Oven said that, well, Rabbi Yochanan didn't say that the halacha is like Rabbi like Rabbi Eliezer, rather matin Rabbi Eliezer. So Rashi points out that there are three different ways that you could say that like the halacha is like somebody, right? One would be to say that the halacha is like him. That means that like we'd be willing to stand up in front of an entire, congregation and say this is the halacha. The other option is matin. Matin means that we wouldn't get up and publicly say that this is the halacha, but on an individual basis, if somebody would come to us and say what's the halacha, so we would say this is the halacha, but we wouldn't sort of tell the multitudes. There's also another way of referencing this, which I assume is the same thing. It's called halacha ve'ein morin kain, right? This is the halacha, but we wouldn't tell you to do that. Although halacha ve'ein morin kain, I think it means like in Berachos, but if somebody would come, then no, actually, I think halacha ve'ein morin kain would actually be actually the next one, which would be called nir in, and nir in is basically if somebody came and asked us, we wouldn't tell him that that's the halacha, but if he did it, then beseder, it's okay. So that's what nir in is. Okay, so now so here we go. So Rabbi Chia bar Avin basically says, look, Rabbi Yochanan didn't say that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer. He just said that matin Rabbi Eliezer kilo. If somebody would come and ask him, then he would say it's like Rabbi Eliezer, but he wouldn't tell in the public. Then what would he tell in the public? I don't really know. That's why I don't really understand the flow over here. But okay, he wouldn't say that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer. He would say matin. I don't know why that makes it any different. Why that I don't know. But still, like matin, as if like there are other options. I don't know. Fine, beseder. Ela matin itmar. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi Amar Mishum Rabbeinu. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi said the name of Rav halacha ve'amr le matin. Okay, that the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer. Some say it's matin Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, fine. Rabbi Yochanan amar modim. Okay, Rabbi Yochanan said that the Chacham actually admit to Rabbi Eliezer that on Yom Tiv that falls out on Motzei Shabbos that you would say it in Hoda'ah. So I guess that fine. Seder. I guess it's kind of similar to halacha. Like if they admit to him, so then certainly the halacha is like him. I guess. Rabbi Chia bar Abba amar nirin. Rabbi Chia bar Abba said that it's nirin, which means that Rabbi Yochanan said that we wouldn't even actually tell people to do like Rabbi Eliezer, even if they came on an individual basis and asked us. But if they had already done like Rabbi Eliezer and done it in Modim, then we would say, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so then if we're not saying that it's like Rabbi Eliezer, then what do we do? What do we do about Havdalah on Yom Tov that falls out on Motzei Shabbos? Rabbi Zera Nikot Rabbi Chia bar Abba biyadach, and Rabbi Zera said, out of all these different opinions about what Rabbi Yochanan said about matin, nirin, halacha, modim, all that stuff, go with Rabbi Chia bar Abba's version, which is nirin. Okay. The diak v'gamer shmaitam impume demara shapir, because Rabbi Chia bar Abba, out of all of the students of Rabbi Yochanan, he was mamish medayik in what Rabbi Yochanan said. Something like this, when we're not sure if he said nirin or halacha or modim or matin, if when this word becomes extremely significant, such as here, go with Rabbi Chia bar Abba's version, because he's extremely trustworthy when it comes to the details of what Rabbi Yochanan said. Rachba de Pumbedisa, just like Rachba of Pumbedisa, who was also really medayek on the words that he would say. Amar Rachba, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, said Rabbi Yehuda, Harabayis stav kaful haya vaya stav lifnim stav, that the benches in the courtyard of the Beis Hamikdash, there were basically 2 rows of benches, and it's just a very detailed thing that Rachba said that the words that Rabbi Yehuda said was stav lifdim mistav, as opposed to the general way of quoting Rabbi Yehuda, which is itztabaos, right? That itztaba lifnim itztaba, I believe, right? Or itztaba agav itztaba. But the point is that Rachba specifically said, no, it wasn't the word itztaba, it was the word stav. Okay, fine, very good. So we see that he was also somebody who was very medayik in what his teachers said. Amar of Yosef, okay, great. Good. If anybody spaced out for the last minute, while things were like choppy and weird, that's over now. You can now get back to focusing and having fun, okay? Amar Rav Yosef, Ana lo hayadaina, v'lo hayadaina, elamid Rav Shmuel yadaina. Okay, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know matin, I don't know modim, I don't know all this confusing, technical, choppy stuff. This is what I know. Ditarkinulan marginisa bebavel, that Rav and Shmuel prepared for us this pearl in Bavel. What is this pearl? This might be familiar to some people, that God, you have let us know the rules of your righteousness, and you have taught us to do the statutes of your desire. And and you have bequeathed to us times of happiness and holidays of, I don't know, probably like, can you bring like Korbanos Nedava maybe? Vatorishenu, and you have given us Kedusha Shabbos v'chavod uchvod moed, the holiness of Shabbos and the honor of the times, v'chagigas haregel, and the celebration of the holidays, of the festivals. Ben Kedusha Shabbos l'Kedusha Yom Tov Ivdalta, you have separated between the holiness of Shabbos and the holiness of Yom Tov. V'es Yom Hashvi Misheshes Me'amaisa Kidashta, and you have made holy the seventh day, right, Shabbos, from the days of doing. Hivdalta v'Kidashta as Amcha Yisrael b'Kedushasecha, you have separated and made holy your nation Israel in your holiness. Vatitin lanu v'chule, and then you continue on your prayer, i.e., you included in the first, on Yom Tov, there's only one bracha there in between the first three and the last three brachas of Shemona Esrei. So in that one bracha, you figure out how to shtup it in darten. Okay, very, very good. And that's what we do, Lemaisa. So if you're wondering, if you don't do like Rabbi Eliezer, what do? We do it like this, which I guess is kind of similar to what the Chacham's opinion is, in terms of including it into Chon and Adas. So you include it right in the first bracha, right. In general, we include it into the first bracha of the Shemona Esrei, of the weekday Shemona Esrei. So here also we include it in the first bracha, really the only bracha of the Yom Tov Shemona Esrei. Okay, very good. Ha'omer al kan tzipor yagiru rachamecha. Oh, so the Mishnah says that if somebody says in his prayer that, well, God, you are so amazing, you're so merciful that your mercy even extends to the nest of a bird, right? Because of course, shiluach hakein, there's a mitzvah that you have to send away the mother bird when you want to take the eggs, right? So we don't want the mother bird to feel bad, I guess, when you steal the eggs in front of her. So God even has mercy on birds. That is why we send it away. And on the good shall your name be remembered. Modim. If he says modim in Shemona Esrei twice, mishatkin, so in any of these examples, we silence him. Bishlama modim mishaskin, so I understand. So it says the Gemara, I understand if he says modim twice, so we silence him. Mishum demechze kishtei rishuyos, because it seems like he's praying to two gods, right? Modim, I thank you to you and thank you to you, right? To this God and to that God. Shemecha, and on the good your name should be remembered. So Nami, I also get why you silence him, right? Mashma al atova v'lo al ra. It sounds like we only remember God for the good things and not for the bad things. Utanan, and yet we have a Mishnah later on in our Masechta. Chayiv adam levarich al ra kishem shemevarich al atova. A person needs to bless God for the bad, just like he blesses for the good. So fine, I get why we would silence for those two things. Ela kan tzipor yagiru rachamecha, my timer. So what's the problem with saying that, God, you're so merciful that you even have mercy on the nest of a bird? That sounds like a really beautiful thing. So pligi batrei amorai b'ma'arava. So in Eretz Yisrael there are two Amoraim who argue about how to understand this. Rabbi Yossi bar Avin, Rabbi Yossi bar Zvida. One of them says because you're going to create jealousy among the creations of the world, right? Because they're going to say, why does God only have mercy on the birds? What about the other creations? And one of them said, he says, because by saying you make it as if like the mitzvahs are so beautiful. They do that because they're so spiritual, because God is such a merciful God. No, that's not why there's the mitzvahs. It's not why we do the mitzvahs, right? We do the mitzvahs because we do the mitzvahs. That's it. Because God said, so we do them. Very good. Rashi says, right, Al Midosav, he says, mitzvosav, right? He didn't make mitzvahs because of mercy. To make laws for the Yidden, Lodia, to let it be known, Shem Avadav v'Shomer mitzvosav, that they are his servants and those who guard his mitzvahs, Ugzeros chukosav, and his chukim, the things that we don't necessarily understand. Even the things that Satan and the idol worshippers could say, I don't understand why you're doing this. I don't understand why you don't wear wool and linen together, right? But still, we do them because God said that we do them. There was a certain individual, a certain fellow who was the chazan by Rabbah, right? Dinachis, he went down because Mimamakim Kasich Hashem, and he was the chazan in front of Rabbah. Now, if you'll remember, Taka on Yud Daled Amud Beis, there was another unfortunate fellow who had the unfortunate fortune of being the chazan, where he said emes twice, and Rabbah was like, oh, look at this guy, emes, right? He kind of made fun of him for saying emes twice. So here also, this guy said, Vamar said, Ata chasta al kansipor, ata chuz rachim aleinu. And this fellow said, God, you are so merciful that you had mercy on the nest of a bird, so please also have mercy upon us. Amar Rabba said, Kama yada haitzur b'merabanon l'ratzuriye l'mare. He says, wow, this little guy, he really knows how to praise God, right? So Amar le Abaye v'amashaskin also, Tanan, Abaye said to Rabba, I mean, doesn't the Mishnah just say that we silence him? Not that we should be sarcastic towards him. So Rabba nami l'chadude le Abaye u'debai. Rabba knew the Mishnah. He was actually just wanted to sharpen Abaye to see if he would chop that yes, the solution is in fact just to silence him, not to be sarcastic. There was a fellow who was the chazan by Rabbi Chanina. Amar Hakel Hagadol Hagibor Vanora Ve'adir Ve'izuz Ve'ayarui Hachazak Ve'ametz Ve'avadai Ve'anechbad. Okay, so he started the Shmoneh Esrei, and instead of just saying Hakel Hakadol Hagibor Vanora, as we say, he then added on his own little flourishes. So Himtin Lo Adisiyem. So Rabbi Chanina waited for him to finish his sort of praise. So Kisiyem, and when he finished, Amalei Sayamtinu L'chulu Shivchei Demarach. Nu, are you finished? Have you finished all your praise? Lamali Kulehai. What do we need all these extra words? Anan. Hane tlaz da amrinan ilav da amrinu Moshe Rabbeinu be'oraisa ve'asu anshe knesses hagadola v'sakninu b'tfila lo avinan yichol lemeimalu. These three words that we say, Akel, right, Hagadol, Agibor, Vanora, if not for the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu already mentioned it in the Torah, right, when he says, right, Akel, Hagadol, Agibor, Vanora, asher lo yisafanim v'likach shochad, and then Ezra then said those three adjectives in his prayer, when he prayed, we wouldn't be able to even say those things, right? Right, the fact that we can even say these three adjectives are because we have specific allowances to say them. Don't just go on adding your own silly adjectives. You're saying all of these ve'azalt and going. Mashal melech basar v'dam. It's a parable to a king of flesh and blood. Shaylo elef alafim dinrei zav. That he had, unlimited wealth essentially. He had thousands upon thousands of gold coins. But also b'shal kesef, and everyone would praise him. He has so much silver. Right? It's beneath him. It's embarrassing to him. Silver. He's got unlimited, amounts of gold. That's what you should be praising him about. So also, every praise of God is also a limitation, right? Meaning, when you have to, limit God into a word, so it's a limitation, right? Outside of words, he's beyond words. He's infinite. To say the word gadol, that's kind of limiting him into this word gadol, implying that he's gadol, he's not something else, right? So if not for the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu said it, and then Ezra said it, we wouldn't be able to say these things. But only because they allowed us to say it, that's why we can, use those words. Said Rab Chanina, this is relatively famous. Everything is in the hands of God, other than fear of God itself. Shneimar, as it says, V'ata Yisrael, and now Israel, Ma'ashem Elokecha Shalom Meimach. What does God ask from you? Ki'im liyira. He asks you to fear, right? That is the only thing that is beyond God's control, is how much you will fear Him. That is up to you. Now the Gemara asks, Atu Yira Shemayim Milta Zutrasai? Is Yira Shemayim such a small thing, right? What does God ask for you? He just asked for you to fear Him. What, is fearing God such a small thing? Didn't Rabbi Chanina say the name of Shimon ben Yochai? The only thing that God has in His treasury is Yira Shamayim, from, I guess, all the human beings, right? So it's a significant thing. It's a chashuv thing. It's a hard thing, right? Shneimar, Yiras Hashem Hiyotzaru, that fear of God is God's treasury. So the Gemara says yeah, it is in a certain sense a simple thing. L'gabe Moshe milsa zutrasahi. For Moshe, it's a simple thing because he was a Yira Shamayim. It came naturally to him. Dam Reb Chanina, Mashal Adam Shemavakshim Imenu Kli Gadol V'Yeshlo, Dom Alav Kli Katan. Katan ve'eno tom alav kli gadol. Very, very cool line, right? That, if you ask somebody for something significant and he has it, so, it could be very easy for him to give it. Let's say he's got, there's a certain thing that's very valuable, but he has a lot of these things. Maybe let's say you need a spare iPhone or something, and this guy Mamish, he happens to have 5, of the latest versions of the iPhone. So he's like, here, look, you can just have it. Whatever, it's not necessarily such a big deal for him. Who knows? Maybe he's got some kind of deal where he just gets free iPhones, whatever it might be, Yet somebody else who doesn't even have, epis, I don't know, a small little something that he needs, and you ask him for that, it's basically impossible for him to give it to you because he doesn't even have that little thing, So it's interesting that, when we have something, it could be very easy to give, yet when we don't have something, it's like impossible to get or to give or whatever it might be. Very interesting. So modim mishaskin. Also, if a person says modim twice, so we silence him. Amar abzera kol omer shma shma. Modim dami. Anybody says shma twice, it's basically the equivalent of somebody who says modim twice, that you would silence him. Meisve, we have a contradiction. Hakore shma v'chofla. Somebody reads shma and repeats it. Hare zem miguna. It's disgraceful. So miguna hu dehave shatuke lo mishatkinale. So if you say shma, it's disgraceful, but we don't quiet him. And here we're saying that saying shma twice is the same thing as saying modim twice, and we know that modim twice you would silence him. So right, fine. Lo kasha, it's no problem. Hadamar milsa vitanila, vadamar psuka vitanila. It depends. If he's saying shma Yisrael, Hashem, right? So if he says it like that, well then it is disgraceful. It's annoying. It's weird. But he doesn't. But you don't have to silence him. But if you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad and then you repeat it, so then we silence him because it looks like he's saying to two gods. Fine. Fine, and he repeats it. Rav Papa said Abaya. But maybe, what do you mean? Maybe he said Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad and then repeated it because the first time he didn't have kavanah. He's just saying it again to have kavanah. Not that the first one's for one God and the second one's for a different God. So Abaya said to Rav Papa, Chavrusa klapi Shema mi'ika. Is there friendship with God? Kilu, is God your friend that you're just going to say Shema and just not really think it is significant enough that it should give you, that you should have enough kavanah? No, God's not your friend. He's your God. Meaning, I'm sure he's also a friendly God and all sorts of stuff. But look, the point being that you should have kavanah when you say Shema, and don't repeat it twice. Right? Ilo kiven daite meikara machinale b'marzafta de napocha ad machven daite. And if he doesn't have kavanah the first time when he says Shema, so we take epis a pole of a blacksmith and we beat him up until he has kavanah. Oh, so this is where we learn that beating somebody with an iron pole helps them focus. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess we don't need all those like Ritalin and all that, whatever medications we use to focus. You can just use a pole. Very interesting. Anyways, shkoyach, this was a long one. Some interesting stuff. Have a good one and peace.